This is literally the third time I'm trying to record this video. First time microphone wasn't on. Second time I didn't click start recording. Ooh! Harry Kane has confirmed he's staying at Spurs. This summer at least. Man City haven't made it any secret that they want to sign Harry Kane, and it's pretty obvious that Kane wants to join City, but Spurs have been steadfast and they've always maintained that unless a foreign club bids a fee of around £150 million, Harry Kane ain't going anywhere. Kane took to social media to confirm he's staying at Spurs, and this effectively ends any faint hopes Man City had of signing Kane this summer at least. Kane stated, "I'll be staying at Tottenham this summer and will be 100% focused on helping the team to achieve success." And that makes sense as Kane has basically no leverage in the situation. There's a contract that exists, 3 years left on it, that's the situation. Now, this is my theory. Kane clearly wants to join City, City clearly want Kane, but Spurs can't afford to lose Kane without a plan to replace him. The fact Kane is specified this summer might not mean anything, but to me that means Kane will be leaving in the near future, just not this summer. If he left now with less than 7 days before transfer deadline day, Spurs would have no chance to properly replace him. So I suspect Spurs will be using the next 12 months to source an adequate replacement for Kane, because if they don't sell next year, he'll be 29 years old, 2 years left on the contract, and they'll be at risk of losing him for basically nothing relative to his actual value. It potentially reminds me of the Suarez situation a few years ago where he wanted to leave Liverpool for Barcelona, but Liverpool were able to convince him to stay for one more season and that he would then be allowed to leave the club. Maybe a similar arrangement has been made with Kane and Spurs, but based on Spurs' previous handling on gentlemen's agreements, I just hope for Kane's sake that he's got something much more concrete in place. Otherwise, he might not be able to leave Spurs until the end of his contract, and by then, he'll be 31 years old, and his ideal suitor club, Man City, that opportunity will have passed him by. There's no way that City are going to wait 3 years for Harry Kane, and there's the distinct possibility that the success Kane could and maybe should have achieved will have passed him by ultimately. I don't see Spurs winning a trophy in the next 3 years. Therefore, if Harry Kane is forced to stay at Spurs until he's 31, the end of his contract, I can see Harry Kane still being trophyless at 31. And not only is that a shame for Harry Kane individually, it's also a shame for football fans because we want to see the best players play in the Champions League and competing for the best trophies, and not disrespecting Spurs, but he's not going to do that at Spurs. But where do you think Kane will be playing next season? Let me know in the comments. I really think it will be Man City. Next year, Kane will be 29 years old, 2 years left on the contract. Are Spurs going to maintain they aren't going to sell Kane? I don't think they'll be willing to risk losing even more money on their prized asset because his value will decrease as he ages, as the contract life ends. So I think they'll be more up for selling him. There's only a certain amount of clubs that could afford Harry Kane, even though next year there'll be another year after the pandemic. Clubs will still be feeling the impact of the pandemic. And there's also only a certain amount of clubs that satisfy Kane's requirements in terms of genuinely competing for league titles and genuinely competing for Premier League titles. Man City just makes the most sense. Please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. We actually recorded this video, I've just checked, it's all good, get in.